Hello everyone and welcome to the F1 corner after the qualifying session of the Spanish Grand Prix where Lewis Hamilton made history and took his 100th pole position in career 14 years after the very first in Canada 2007. In second place will be Max Verstappen, very close behind. It promises to be a very tight race tomorrow. Valtteri Bottas in third place. We'll get to our top three in a second, but obviously we need to start with, as usual, Q1, what happened in qualifying today. And of course, before we start, please remember to smash this like button, and you can slash it too, and to subscribe to this channel so that you do not miss any update regarding the Spanish Grand Prix or any other race this season. So, we're out in Q1, Nikita Mazepin, Nicolas Latifi, Mick Schumacher, Kimi Raikkonen and Yuki Tsunoda. No big surprises for the Haas. We knew they would not making into Q2, but a little bit of positive on their side. Mick Schumacher beating Nicolas Latifi. We saw him overtake the Williams also in Portugal toward the end of the race, so a little win here for the Haas driver, for Mick Schumacher, who's really looking like he's putting a lot of effort into improving his F1 drive. Nikita Mazepin still quite a bit behind, will start needing to improve soon. Latifi will also be disappointed with his result, considering that George Russell made it to Q2, but in when you look at everything, Russell did an astounding lap compared to Nicolas Latifi. The times representing here are not the good one. The timesheet did not update properly, but in terms of George Russell, it should be in the 118, obviously not 119. Kimi Raikkonen, a bit disappointing. We know that the Alfa Romeo had more in it. In free practice, he looked a lot stronger, but the big surprise here is Tsunoda in the AlphaTauri. He ran a bit wide at turn 9, hit the gravel, lost some time there, and vented out his frustration on the radio after his lap. But I think, he's just trying to do a bit too much at the moment. He just needs to compose himself, gain back his confidence, and just go with the flow. Pierre Gasly did a good job in quali. Tsunoda did an astounding job in the first race of the year in Bahrain. He just needs to relax and get back to the basics. So, we'll start in 16th place, Yuki Tsunoda, Kimi Raikkonen in 17th, followed by Mick Schumacher, Nicolas Latifi and Nikita Mazepin. In Q2, we're bumped out Lance Stroll, Pierre Gasly, Sebastian Vettel, Antonio Giovinazzi and George Russell. George Russell, obviously, we're not expecting anything more. Even speaking to team principal Simon Roberts, they were only going out in Q2 on used tires to preserve the new one for the race, and we're not expecting something similar to Portugal, where Russell only missed Q3 by 5 milliseconds. Giovinazzi 14 also cannot hope very much more from the Alfa Romeo. This is good that they made it to Q2, and with a little bit of luck tomorrow, maybe they will have good race pace, and if something happens in the front, they could be in the point. Now the two Aston Martin, they're struggling this year so far, but the upgrades that they've brought to the track since Portugal seems, according to them, be paying off slightly. Lance Stroll will start 11, Vettel 13. This is not where they want to be, but if they are confident that they are making steps in the right direction, this is what is important. Vettel still trying to get at ease with that car. It's still not 100% done. Lance Stroll seems like he's a little bit better at handling that car this season. Of course, he's been with the team for 2 years now. And Pierre Gasly in 12th place. The AlphaTauri, it's surprising, I'd say, to see it there. We thought that this car was better than that, and we know that Barcelona really represents how your car is doing, what it's worth relative to the other teams. So AlphaTauri will be disappointed with only 12th, but in all likelihood, they will make up some ground during the race as they did through the previous round this season. So we'll start in 11th place, Lance Stroll, followed by Pierre Gasly. Sebastian Vettel for Aston Martin starts 13, Antonio Giovinazzi 14, and Mr. Saturday, George Russell, starts in 15th place. And finally, our Q3 results. As I mentioned before, Lewis Hamilton takes his 100th pole position in his career, only 3/100ths of a second in front of Max Verstappen, and a mere 10th in front of teammate Valtteri Bottas. Very good result indeed. But let's start at the bottom so that we can finish with our top drivers. Fernando Alonso, good overall for both Alpine, 5th and 10th. Alonso probably could have done better considering that Ocon is 5th by over half a second. But Alonso himself saying that he's not completely in with the car, giving himself only a 5 out of 10 in regards to his comeback in Formula 1. Still, Alpine making quite a bit of progress since Portimao last week. It seems like they are finally unlocking the potential of that car. And this is great news because this fight for the midfield is just the one we want to see with the one in front between Mercedes and Red Bull. That midfield fight is just so tight. Between 4th place and 10th place, there's merely 6/10 of a second. If you 4th and 8th, 2/10 of a second. That is nothing. So this is a very good. Lando Norris 9th, Ricciardo 7th, the two McLaren. Good result overall. They might be slightly disappointed by their qualifying pace there, especially Lando Norris, who probably could have done better. We think that they have the third fastest car on the grid after the Mercedes and the Red Bulls. But Ricciardo, doing a very good job here this weekend. Starting to finally understand that car better. It was very disappointing in Portugal, but finally unlocking the potential. Norris, disappointing, yes, but during the race, this is where it all counts, and we know that Norris's racecraft is usually pretty amazing. Sergio Perez is the guy that will be very disappointed of his Q3 performance. He spun during his first outing, ruining his lap, so all the pressure was on the second lap. And second lap, nobody improved, meaning that probably the track conditions were not as good as during the first lap. So the chances of him getting close to the top 3 were lower than what he would have liked. In the end, 1 second behind teammate Max Verstappen, and starting in 8th place. This will not help the Red Bull team that are trying to pick a fight with the Mercedes. This will be a scenario similar to what we've seen in the recent years. Only one Red Bull fighting 2 Mercedes at the front. Perez needs to start stepping up his game, but he said also that the car is just so different from what he's used to, does not suit his driving style, needs to adapt, and just shows, I think, what everyone is thinking so far, that the Red Bull is just so on the line that only top-notch driver are able to make with it. And Sergio Perez will need to show that he is among those top-notch drivers. The two Ferrari, Carlos Sainz, Charles Leclerc, very, very good result. Leclerc starting 4th for the 3rd time this season. Sainz in 6th place, also very good. The two Ferraris are probably the team in the best position to pick a fight with the McLaren in that fight for 3rd. And at the moment, they are doing the job in Spain in front of both McLaren. All they have to do now is keep their position, which in Spain is pretty doable. We know there's not a lot of overtake in the Spanish Grand Prix, so fair chances of both Ferraris finishing in front of the McLaren and getting some very good points. And Carlos Sainz very, very close here from teammate Charles Leclerc. So I think they're both pushing each other's in the back, and this is very good indeed for the show. And our top 3, Valtteri Bottas, only 1/10 behind Lewis Hamilton. For some time, we thought that maybe Valtteri would be in front of Lewis with while he was beating him in Q1 and Q2, but Hamilton, as usual, takes out the big guns in Q3, and this is where he shines. And Valtteri cannot do better than third, still only 1/10. Everything can happen in the race. Verstappen, little bit of bad luck here too. Had an astounding lap in Q2, and we thought that Verstappen had more in that car to make it to pole position. 3/100 of a second is nothing. So at the start tomorrow, it will be very interesting to see if he can get a good start and pass Hamilton right at the beginning. And Hamilton, 100 pole position. What can we say? Very good result here. We are really in a season where drivers make a difference, and Hamilton showed that for this qualifying he had the edge over Max Verstappen. Very good. He starts from pole, and this is looking likely that it's gonna make it easier for a win, and especially on a track like Catalonia, where it is tough to overtake. The start will be critical for both Max Verstappen and Valtteri Bottas if they hope to win. Interesting fact, Lewis Hamilton will start maybe on tire a little bit more worn out than Verstappen and Bottas, as his best time in Q2 was not done on new tires. From what we understand, there were not like fast lap tires. There was only maybe just a small installation lap done on them to help make them more durable. But this is still intriguing what's going to happen with Lewis Hamilton and his tire choice for the race tomorrow. That's all I have for you today, guys. Thank you once again for watching, and I will see you once again tomorrow after the Spanish Grand Prix. Remember to hit the like button and to subscribe, and thank you for watching, and see you next time.